When people hear the word punk, they often imagine something loud: spiked hair, torn clothes, safety pins through skin, and shouted slogans sprayed across crumbling walls. It's a stereotype built on spectacle, and sure, that image holds power. Punk has always used visibility as a weapon, refusing to be palatable, refusing to be quiet. But there's a danger in romanticizing only the noise. When we do that, we forget the rest of the spectrum. We forget those who are just as punk, just as powerful, but whose resistance can't afford to be seen. In the magical world, too, we've inherited this bias. We're told that to be a powerful witch, a revolutionary occultist, a true practitioner, we must be public. You must lead protests, burn sigils in public parks, live stream your vanishings, argue online with self-proclaimed gatekeepers. But that's just another performance of power. It suits some, and for those people, it's real. But it isn't the only way. In Punk Magic, our first heresy is against monoliths. There is no one way to be a witch, a punk, or a revolutionary. The loud rebel is real, but so is the quiet one. The one who blends in to survive, the one who can't risk being outed, the one who has mouths to feed and a boss to answer to, the one who does their work behind closed doors, is in whispered prayers, anonymous offerings, and quiet deeds that no one will thank them for. They are no less part of this movement. In many ways, they are its core. Punk, in its rawest form, is not about volume, it's about refusal. Refusing to comply, refusing to play nice with systems that exploit and oppress, refusing to believe that power only looks a certain way. That refusal can be screamed from a stage, or it can be embedded in your daily choices. It can be the way you offer a hot meal to someone living rough, even when your own pockets are nearly empty. It can be in the way you hex your abuser's name carved on an egg and buried in graveyard dirt. It can be the decision to teach your children to think for themselves, to love who they want, to stand against injustice, even if you never say a word on social media. Too often, people believe they are not doing enough because their rebellion isn't visible, because they aren't making content, marching, shouting, or confronting. But Punk Magic isn't a brand. It's a way of being in the world that spits in the face of dominant structures and rewrites them from the inside out. It doesn't need likes or shares, it needs truth. Some of the most dangerous and effective forms of resistance have always been hidden: coded messages in songs, underground railroads, spells cast in kitchens, curses whispered in dialects the oppressors never learned. Visibility can be a trap. It can make us feel seen, but it can also make us targets, and not everyone can afford that. If you've ever felt like your silence made you less revolutionary, this is your reminder. Silence can be sacred, it can be strategic, it can be the soil where the most potent magic takes root. This movement needs all kinds of voices: the screamers, the whisperers, the ones who only write their words in chalk at midnight on forgotten walls. Punk Magic doesn't care about how loud you are, it cares that you're real, that your blood runs contrary to obedience, that you are carving a path toward liberation, whether you do it in boots or barefoot, in ink or in fire, in public or in shadow. Your voice doesn't have to echo to be heard by the spirits, it just has to be yours. Not all rebellion is loud, not all magic is meant to be seen. Some of the fiercest resistance lives in silence, in what's done quietly, without applause, without recognition, without social media declarations. And for some people, silence isn't a choice, it's survival. In a world that glorifies visibility, where we are told to speak our truth and stand up and be counted, those who remain in the shadows are often treated with suspicion. Why aren't you saying anything? Why don't you post about it? Why won't you protest, expose, confront? But not everyone can, and not everyone should. Punk Magic is not about doing what's expected. It is about doing what's right, even when no one sees it. That includes protecting your safety, your sanity, your family, your body, and your freedom. Sometimes silence is not surrender, it's strategy. It's the careful preservation of your power in a world that would burn you for it. Some practitioners of punk magic are queer in places where that alone could cost them everything. Some are women in abusive homes, trans folks in unsafe countries, disabled witches who can't physically take to the streets, neurodivergent rebels who can't speak up without dissociating or collapsing. Some are carers, single parents, immigrants, survivors. They move differently, they have to, and their work is no less magical, no less defiant than the loudest scream in the square. To those who cannot speak, your silence is not weakness. It's a different language. You do not owe the world your visibility. You do not owe anyone your trauma as proof of participation. Your voice may be hidden, but it is no less potent. You find your voice in other ways. In the choice to volunteer at the animal shelter, where abandoned creatures are met with love instead of cruelty, in the moment you slide a blanket to someone sleeping on a cold step and keep walking, no need for a selfie. In the spell you write and burn in your kitchen sink, calling for justice for someone you've never met. In the donation you make under a pseudonym to a struggling mutual aid project. In the free babysitting you offer to a tired single mother in your building because her rest matters too. You find your voice when you lift someone up and ask for nothing in return, when you challenge your family's bigotry at the dinner table, even though it makes your hand shake, when you teach your kids to question everything, when you plant seeds in your window box just to keep something alive. Punk Magic is built on this kind of refusal, refusing to let the system define your worth, refusing to sit quietly when injustice howls in your ears, even if the only scream you can manage is in your spellwork, or your art, or the quiet choices you make every day, your ethics, your love, your rage that simmers like a warded flame. These are all forms of resistance. We need to expand what we call voice. Not everyone speaks with sound. Some speak with movement, with kindness, with offerings, with action. Some speak through coded messages in their embroidery, or in the graffiti in bathroom stalls, or in the playlists they make for those who are struggling. Some speak through ancestral altars, quietly calling upon the dead to aid the living. Some speak by simply surviving another day in a world that would rather they didn't. To act in alignment with your truth when that truth is dangerous is an act of magical rebellion. To live gently in a brutal world is a spell. To do no harm but take no shit is a mantra of the sacred outlaw. And don't get it twisted. Just because you're quiet doesn't mean you're passive. Many so-called silent punks are hexing landlords, cursing abusers, glamoring their way through unsafe systems, building protection grids for their neighbors, or feeding spirits who want the same collapse we do. There is rage in those rituals. There is revolution in those candles. Punk magic lives wherever the system is quietly being undermined. So if you've been wondering where your voice is, maybe it's already speaking, not in the way the world recognizes, but in the way that spirits do. The spirits don't care about hashtags, they care about intent, energy, and action. Finding your voice isn't always about being heard. Sometimes it's about knowing what you stand for, even if you're the only one who knows it. And sometimes it's about protecting that knowledge with your life. So we make space here for the silent rebels, the masked witches, the ones who work in secret. You are not alone. You are part of the noise, even if no one can hear you yet. Your silence is sacred. Your resistance is real. Your voice is valid, even if it's only ever spoken in smoke. There's a common misunderstanding in both mainstream activism and mainstream witchcraft that speech must be literal and that action must be public. But anyone who's ever whispered an incantation in the dark knows better. In Punk Magic, the spell is the scream, the ritual is the riot. Our language is not always spoken aloud, it's carved, conjured, woven into the fabric of the world with hands that have been told they're powerless. To those who feel voiceless, this is the truth. Magic is your voice. A spell is a declaration of intent made sacred. It is a statement of, I will not be broken, I will not be erased, I will not go quietly, even when it's whispered, especially then. Every candle lit for justice, every protection charm hung above a door, every sigil scrawled in the margins of a notebook is a political act. It says, I exist, I resist, I will shape the world with my will. Punk magic doesn't just allow you to speak through ritual, it demands it. In a society that seeks to reduce us to consumers, data points, passive recipients of ideology, every act of spellcraft is a reclamation of agency. You are not just reacting, you are creating. You are changing the narrative. You are refusing to accept the world as it is and insisting it becomes something better, even if only in your corner of it. When your mouth is gagged by circumstance, trauma, or risk, your hands can still move. You can light a candle and breathe intent into the flame. You can walk a path barefoot to ground yourself to the earth's defiance. You can pour your rage into a spell jar filled with nails and ash and bury it like a landmine of refusal. You can call on spirits, ancestors, demons, or gods to intervene when you cannot. You can etch a sigil of healing into a bar of soap and wash away the rot of oppression, one shower at a time. And when even that feels like too much, you can simply breathe with purpose, hold your cup with intention. Take each step as ritual. This too is magic. This too is voice. There's power in knowing that every mundane act can become enchanted. A letter you write becomes a binding. A haircut becomes a ritual of release. The way you paint your nails, lace your boots, arrange your room, all of it can become part of your statement to the world. You are not owned. You are not docile. You are alive. And your existence is enough to shape fate. Punk magic is anti-authoritarian, not just politically but metaphysically. We reject the idea that magic must be done a certain way, using certain tools in certain languages under certain rules. We do not wait for permission. We do not need a lineage. We do not need validation from grimoires or gurus. Our breath is the invocation. Our heartbeat is the drum. Our pain becomes the offering. Our desire becomes the spell. When you bind a predator's influence, you are speaking truth into the world. When you craft a charm to help a friend escape a toxic home, you are shouting freedom through the wires of reality. When you draw a protective sigil and tuck it into the backpack of your trans sibling before they head out, you are saying you matter, you are seen, and you will make it back alive. These are not theatrics, these are sacred acts of defiance. We cast because the system won't listen. We enchant because our voices are drowned out by noise and violence. We whisper because sometimes that's all we're allowed, but a whisper repeated enough times becomes a roar. And spirits hear everything. Let the world mock it. Let them say spell work isn't real. That's fine. They never understood punk either. That's how we like it. Some of us speak with curses, some of us speak with healing, some of us speak with blood offerings, some with glitter, poetry, or silence. But all of it counts. All of it is voice. If you have ever walked away from a ritual and felt lighter, louder, more you, then you found your volume, and no one can take that from you. In this movement, a spell can do what a scream can't. A ritual can reach further than a tweet. A charm bag can shield where laws fail. This is how we speak. This is how we survive. This is how we win. So find your spell. Write it like it's a speech to the universe. Whisper it like it's a secret only your bones understand. Etch it into the cracks of the world like graffiti no one else can see. That's your voice. That's your power. No one can silence it. Not really. Punk magic isn't about following a set of commandments handed down from a leather-bound high priest. It's about crafting your own code, your own spellbook, your own ethics, your own manifesto, scrawled in the margins of whatever life has handed you. That's what makes it magic. That's what makes it punk. To find your voice within the system is to decide what you won't accept, what you will fight for, what you will risk, what you will protect. Your voice might never come in the form of chants on the street or a blazing sigil posted online. It might live quietly in your bones. But once you find it, you begin to shape your rebellion around it. Punk Magick invites you to build a personal code, not as a set of rules to cage you, but as a compass to guide you. And that code can be made from whatever matters to you: compassion, justice, chaos, beauty, resistance, survival. Pick your poison, then turn it into praxis. Do you believe in feeding people? That's magic. Make it part of your code. Do you hex landlords or politicians in the privacy of your home? Then say it. I do not bow to power that harms. Do you enchant your workspace to keep your spirit intact under capitalism's weight? Then say it. My labor is not my soul. Do you choose to stay silent publicly because being seen could get you killed? Then make this vow. My secrecy is my shield, and I am still fighting. Your rebellion doesn't need to make sense to anyone else. It doesn't need to be aesthetic or poetic or palatable. It needs to be yours, honest, grounded, lived. And yes, your code can evolve. Punk magic is fluid. You might be louder one year, quieter the next. You might start with hexes and find yourself leaning into healing later. That doesn't make you inconsistent. It makes you alive. You are not a brand. You are not a slogan. You are a human being walking through fire and making meaning out of the smoke. If you're unsure where to begin, start with this. This is how I speak. This is how I fight. Then write it out. Let it be messy. Let it be honest. Let it be a spell. Maybe it looks like this. I speak with shelter and silence. I fight with care and cunning. I do not ask permission to exist. I call the spirits by their true names. I burn when I must. I bind when I can. I do not forget. I do not forgive the wicked. I live. I love. I refuse. Or maybe it's shorter. Maybe it's a symbol only you know. Maybe it's a song or a tattoo or a stone you carry in your pocket to remember your rage. Whatever form it takes, let it remind you, you are not voiceless, you are not powerless, you are not alone. In the end, punk magic is not about how loud you are, it's about how true you are. It's about knowing your voice exists, whether it echoes or whispers or stays entirely unspoken. You are here, you are sacred, and the world cannot unmake you. Not every witch throws Molotovs, not every rebel wears their defiance on their sleeve. Some keep it tucked behind their ribs, glowing slow and steady like coals under ash. But make no mistake, quiet doesn't mean soft. Silence doesn't mean surrender. The quiet ones still burn. Punk magic isn't about volume, it's about intensity, about living in a way that refuses to bow. Whether you wear combat boots or go barefoot, whether your rituals happen in public parks or in your locked bathroom at night, whether you scream or simply survive, you are part of this. You don't need permission to matter. You don't need a platform to speak. Your care is rebellion. Your spell work is speech. Your very existence in a world designed to erase you is a revolution. If you've ever felt like you didn't belong in punk because you weren't loud enough, or in witchcraft because you weren't visible enough, this is your home. Punk magic is a sanctuary for the defiant, the broken, the unheard, the furious, and the frightened. It's a place where we set fire to old rules and make new ones from the bones. So find your voice, however it speaks. Maybe it's your art, maybe it's your spellcraft, maybe it's the way you love or protect or choose not to be seen. Maybe it's the whispered promise you make to yourself each morning: I will not go quietly into a world that wants me numb. We need your voice, not just the ones that shout, but the ones that hum, that write, that curse in secret, that weep in moonlight and still rise. In this coven of the unsilenced, all voices matter, even yours, especially yours. Let it speak, let it burn.